My name is Michael. I'm 58 years old, and I've always believed that family disagreements can be solved with conversation, patience, and a little grace. But this story proved me wrong. It began on a cold Thursday morning when I received a message from my daughter. Short, odd, completely unlike her. Dad, we need space for a while. The kids won't be able to visit this weekend. We'll talk later. Strange. No explanation. No warmth. No signature. I stare at the message, try to convince myself it was nothing. But something about it felt off, like she didn't actually write it. And unfortunately, I was right. For the past 5 years, my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, had depended on me heavily. I babysat. I helped with bills when times got tight. I even co-signed their home loan, believing I was helping them build stability. Never once did I complain. But my son-in-law had always been a difficult personality. Petty, controlling, insecure, a man who needed to feel like the biggest presence in every room. Still, I tried to get along for my daughter's sake. But recently, he'd changed. He'd become bolder, colder, almost territorial when it came to the kids, like he wanted to erase me from their lives. 2 days after the strange message, I drove to their house. Not to fight, just to check in. My daughter opened the door, only a crack. Her eyes looked tired, her voice barely above a whisper. Dad, please don't come by right now. It's not a good time. In the background, I heard him, my son-in-law, his voice snapped like a whip, tell him to leave. Now. My daughter flinched. That was when I understood. This wasn't her decision. This was his doing. I kept my voice calm. I just want to see the kids. She swallowed hard. We'll talk soon. I promise. But the door closed, and I drove home feeling something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Fear. Not for myself. For my daughter. And for my grandchildren. The next morning, I tried calling. Her phone rang once, then voicemail. I sent message. Not delivered. I checked her social media. Blocked. Then I checked his. Also blocked. And that was when the truth hit me. My son-in-law had cut me off from my own daughter, my grandchildren, my family. Just like that. No explanation. No reason. No humanity. I sat at my kitchen table for a long time, just staring at the wall, trying to make sense of it. And then something snapped inside me. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to beg. But I was going to protect my daughter, even from a distance, if that was all I could do. And I was going to prepare for whatever he planned next. 2 weeks later, I found out what he had been plotting. A letter arrived from the county office, addressed to me. It stated that my son-in-law had filed a complaint saying I was interfering with their home, causing stress and disrupting family peace. A complaint against me, a man who has never raised his voice at them, never taken a dime from them, never asked for anything in return. He was building a case. He was setting a narrative. He was isolating my daughter and removing me from her world. But what he didn't know was that months earlier, long before any of this, I had already filed something of my own. Not out of spite, not out of fear, but because of a strange moment last year, a moment that felt wrong enough that I filed a statement just in case. At the time, I hoped I'd never need it. Turns out, I was wrong. When the court date arrived, my son-in-law walked in with the confidence of a man who believed he'd already won. He smirked at me across the room, as if I was something he'd scraped off the bottom of his shoe. My daughter couldn't even look at me. She stood small, silent, almost dimmed, like someone had drained the light right out of her. The clerk began reading his complaint first. Every line was a lie, a twisting of reality. His voice dripped with manufactured victimhood. He kept glancing around the room, making sure everyone was watching his performance. But then the clerk picked up another document, a much older one. Next, we have a statement filed by Mr. Michael dated 8 months prior. My son-in-law's face twitched. The clerk cleared her throat, and she began reading. A record of concerning behavior witnessed between the son-in-law and the grandchildren. Not an accusation, but a protective statement in case any issues escalate in the future. The room changed. My daughter looked up sharply, her eyebrows pulled together. Confusion, shock, recognition. I watched the color drain from my son-in-law's face, because he remembered exactly what I had seen that day, a moment he thought I had forgotten, a moment involving harsh discipline, anger, and a loss of control. I had filed the statement quietly, without blaming him, without involving authorities, just documenting the event in case something ever happened. And now it was happening. The clerk continued reading. The child appeared frightened. The son-in-law's actions were disproportionate and volatile. The grandfather exhibited calm intervention and concern. No accusations are made, only a request for documentation should future issues arise. My son-in-law couldn't sit still. He kept shifting in his seat, kept glancing at my daughter, whose eyes had filled with tears, not of anger, but realization. The judge asked him a simple question. Why was this man blocked from his daughter and grandchildren immediately after this filing? He stuttered. He slipped. He contradicted himself. He panicked. And just like that, his carefully built narrative collapsed. The judge ordered temporary visitation restored, a wellness check for the children, mediation for my daughter, and a warning directed at him loud and clear. My daughter finally turned to me. Dad, I didn't know. Her voice cracked, and for the first time in months, I held her as she cried. The aftermath wasn't explosive. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. My daughter moved back into my home for a while. The kids returned to laughing, playing, and being children again. My son-in-law was ordered into counseling before any custody decisions would continue. And me, I learned something. Sometimes, doing the right thing means preparing for a storm long before anyone else sees the clouds. Sometimes, protecting the people you love means standing quietly, patiently, until the truth speaks for itself. And that day in court, it spoke louder than anything I could have said. I didn't win by yelling. I didn't win by rage. I won by being steady, by being calm, by letting the truth do the work. And now, my daughter sees what I had seen all along. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's the presence of safety. And my family finally has that again.